What's up, you guys? So before this video starts, it is going to be a longer video because I go into a lot of detail on what this bike has and can do. So if you are looking for a specific question you want answered or something specific about the bike, I will try to leave timestamps down below to save you guys some time from having to watch the whole video, which I think is about 25 minutes right now. But for those of you guys that are seriously looking into buying this particular motorcycle, 2022 ZX6R, I highly recommend you watch the whole thing. I go over a lot of details, comparison to how it compares to other bikes, and it's just really good information for those of you guys that are more serious about buying it. Second thing, if this is your first time on my channel, this isn't the normal content I do. I'm a lot more of a fun, energetic, go out and do dumb stuff type of motor vlogger. So if that is content you're interested in, then make sure to subscribe. But with all that said, enjoy today's video. Alright, you guys, welcome to today's video. So today I am finally doing the review on my 2022 ZX6R 636. It's been a really fun bike. I finally put 1,000 miles on it, so I'm past break-in, and I got some parts coming in this week, so I really wanted to get this review out while it's still, for the most part, stock besides the frame sliders. It is a 2022 636cc Ninja. Kawasaki made it. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission. The 2022 does come with the Kawasaki quick shifter, which the quick shifter only works for upshifting, not for downshifting. But to help you with the downshifts, they did include a slipper clutch, which actually is the first time I've ever used a slipper clutch, and it feels absolutely amazing. The aesthetics of the bike are super clean. Even the stock muffler, like, it's huge and I don't like it, but it's not the worst looking stock muffler I've ever seen in my life. The only thing that's changed aesthetically, again, besides the frame sliders, I did delete the little reflectors on the front fender just because I happen to have a buddy that had a fairing bolt kit, so we just took them off and put a bolt there to replace them. But other than that, everything else is bone stock. Beautiful bike. I did not go with the KRT. Anyone that knows me, black, gray, and red are my favorite color patterns, so the color on this bike really spoke to me, and that's really the final push onto when I purchased this. It's lightweight. I'll put up the actual specs, like I'll look them up and put them on screen, but if I remember correctly, it's about 420, maybe 425 pounds wet, ready to ride. So it's pretty lightweight for a super sport. It is a full-on super sport. It is not. A lot of people compare the ZX6R with the Ninja 650, which is not a good comparison, just because the Ninja 650 is more of a sport touring bike, where this is a full-on super sport. If we look at the cluster here, I mean, it's a very clean looking bike. Now obviously mine's a little dusty. I haven't washed her in a few days, but clean looking cluster. You have your RPMs, which I really love the analog RPM gauge. I don't know what it is about analog that I just absolutely love them. I love them. Digital is cool, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about digital, but if I had to pick between analog and digital, I'm going to pick the analog. But I do like that the speedo's digital, so there's not guesswork in between the lines. You know what your speed is. So you also have different power modes. So you have 2 different power modes, and to access those, you just hit select. So right there, you can see the F blinking right there. So we are in full power mode. She does have a low power mode, and those are the only 2 options you get. You get full and low, which if you are a new rider and you decided that this is what you were going to start on was a 636, I would highly recommend the first few weeks going low. Just staying low. It's it actually cuts the power pretty significantly. It was a little underwhelming the first time I went full throttle after break-in and low power mode, if I'm being 100% honest. But for a beginner, it's going to give you, it's not going to make it safe, but it's going to give you some forgiveness, which is important. But for us experienced riders, or slightly more experienced, full power mode is the way to go. The next thing you'll see flashing after I hit select again is this number, and on top it says KTRC, which is Kawasaki Traction Control. I like it in 2 just because I'm not a beginner rider, so to say, but I'm not an advanced rider either, so it just makes me feel safer. It goes up to 3, you got 2, you get 1, and then you also get it off, which for wheelies and stuff like that, that's where you're going to want it. Now, if I recall correctly, I do have the ABS model. I haven't figured out how to turn off ABS yet. I haven't looked that deep into it. And then finally, you have your KQS, which is your Kawasaki quick shifter. Now, this one, if you guys saw the video of me actually riding this home the first day, I thought I had the quick shifter on. You don't. If you bought this brand new, what it's going to look like, your Speedo, it's going to look like this. You're going to have power, KTRC, but nothing there. And that's where I was at. And so when I was shifting without the clutch, I was floating gears, not using the quick shifter. To activate the quick shifter, you got to come in here and you got to hold select for 2 seconds. And once you do that, you let go, you say KQS is on. Once you see that on, your quick shifter's on, and it'll work the way it's supposed to. You don't have to let off the throttle. And I'll show you guys footage of me actually using the KQS. It is absolutely amazing. The brakes feel phenomenal. It's got Nissan brakes, 2-rotor front. The brakes feel outstanding. This thing wants to stop. ABS does kick on a little sooner than I would expect, which ABS honestly scares me sometimes because it does that stutter effect, but that's fine. Stock clutch weight, it's really nice actually. I can 1-finger clutch this, so if any of you guys are wanting to do wheelies and stuff like that, you can very easily 1-finger clutch this without having to get an easy pull lever. I 2-finger clutch for my normal riding, and yeah, the super lightweight clutch, and that slipper clutch feels really good when you're downshifting. So if you don't have time to rev match, or you know it's an emergency situation, that slipper clutch really does prevent some of that jerkiness. But we're gonna go ahead and do startup and put her in neutral. Yeah, there she is. And if you're in neutral, you do not have to press the clutch to start the bike. You just have to have it in neutral. So there you go. It is not a cold start. I have been riding today, but she is pretty quiet with the stock muffler on. But it has that classic 600 sound. That's the basic walk around on up here. Of course, you got high beams, low beams, turn signals. It does have emergency flashes. You got your horn, kill switch, and ignition switch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take her on a ride, and we'll start talking more about the bike on the ride along. So right off the bat, one of the first things I noticed that I surprisingly liked are the mirrors. I normally hate mirrors. If you guys have been subscribed to my channel back when I was riding the ZX6, y'all will know how much I hated those mirrors. My mirror! Ah! But with these, I really don't feel the need to go with bar ends. They're very sturdy. Doesn't matter how fast you go, they will not fold in. They don't, once you adjust them and have them set, they really don't move anymore. They don't vibrate. They're just, it's a good set of mirrors. I was actually very happily surprised about that. So bar ends are not really looking like something I'm going to be getting because of that. Second thing is the riding position. If you are used to riding super sports, which admittedly I wasn't necessarily used to riding super sports before this. I had ridden super sports, particularly a ZX6R, but compared to other super sports, and when I say others, I mean the ZX6R, it's actually very comfortable. The seating position is like, the seating position is super comfortable. And there's the quick shifter in action. But the seating position for a super sport is very comfortable. I'm not fully bent over right now, but I definitely do have more of a bend. Like, if you're coming from a naked to this, it will take a few days to get adjusted to it, simply because it is a super sport. It's more aggressive seating positioning. The foot pegs, I don't feel like they're too high. Like, it's really not bad. Now granted, I don't mind higher foot pegs because of the style of riding I do. But in terms of just sitting here, no, it's honestly a comfortable ride. Compared to the ZX6R, this is definitely more comfortable. The seat is more comfortable than the ZX6Rs. Now compared to my ZX6s, the seat's more comfortable than my ZX6s, but the ZX6 overall was more comfortable. But it's a naked. It had full-on handlebars versus clip-ons. So I feel like you really can't compare the two there. But like I said, if you have been riding super sports, you'll have no issues in terms of seating position on this. It's a good, comfortable bike. I've ridden semi-long distances on it already, and I was fine. Carrying a backpack, it does get a little bit more difficult. The other thing I really like is because it is that 636, it has, I'm not saying it has, you know, FZ07 mid-range torque, but it has more mid-range torque than the ZX6R I rode had. It makes it more usable for just your everyday riding. You know, as long as I'm at 6,000 RPMs, she'll scoot forward enough that whatever I need to do to maneuver my way through traffic. So right there, like that first one was really rough, but it didn't feel rough because of that slipper clutch. That slipper clutch is, I'm a big fan of the slipper clutch. You know, I would rather have the quick shifter on downshifts, but the slipper clutch it's a good compromise. I'm okay with it. And even not rev matching, you know, it's not harsh, whereas the, you know, on the Gixxer or the Gixxer that didn't have a slipper clutch, when it downshifted it, if I didn't rev match, it was a little bit of a rougher ride. We'll talk about the quick shifter now. The quick shifter on the lower gears, if you aren't pinning it, you're gonna notice that it's a little bit snappier, so to speak. It feels like a dual clutch transmission on a car. For those of you guys that are car guys, it'll throw you back a little bit. Like, I'll show you first a second with the quick shifter right here. It gives you a little bit of a jerk, but that's just because when you're pinning it, you don't notice it as much because you're really demanding it out of the bike. But being able to stay on throttle and shift gears is, oh, it's a game changer. Because even when I was floating gears in the Gixxer, I'd have to let off a little bit, but with the quick shifter, I literally don't have to at all. It's just, it's once you ride with a quick shifter, you don't go back. You really don't. It's a game changer, and I absolutely love it, to the point where I might be putting a quick shift, aftermarket quick shifter on the Gixxer for Brennan, just because it really is that big of a game changer. The other thing I really was surprised about with this bike is the fuel economy. Fuel economy on this motorcycle is, I mean, motorcycles always have good fuel economy, but I could not believe. So if you look at my dash, I just turned off. Let me try right there. That eco light, when that eco light is on, I think what I read is that the bike is getting 55 miles per gallon. And even in your higher RPM range, that light will come on as long as you're staying consistent. And yeah, the fuel range on this it's amazing. It really is. You know, a tank will take me a long way. Now granted, recently not really, but that's because I've been going out having fun, really enjoying the bike now that I have her fully broken in and can really rip her around. Engine braking is pretty aggressive on this, maybe a little more than I would like, but it's nothing that breaks the bike. You just, it is very aggressive. It doesn't have engine braking control like some of those Italian Ducati Biscottis do, but it is aggressive on the engine braking, but it's definitely manageable and predictable, which for me, it's not a pro, it's not a con, it's just one of those. It's something to note on the bike. The engine braking is very aggressive on it. Oh, right there, it slows you right down. But yeah, putt-putting through traffic, I mean, is it going to be as good as the Naked? No, but it's not bad either. So if you really want a super sport, I mean, you'll commute in a super sport. It's just, what do you want? And this bike really isn't that. It's not bad to commute on. I've been commuting on it for the last, consistently every day, or almost every day for about the last month and a half. And it's a comfortable ride. Like I said, I really don't have any complaints with it. Right there, you just, like I said, not even pinning the throttle, the acceleration's really, really good on it. Like, before I rode a 636, everyone said that extra 36 makes a big difference, and I couldn't really see it, but now that I've ridden one and I've been riding, yeah, this bike is very, very usable on the street. It's a track bike that works on the street, is what it is. It's, you know, when you're riding hard and you start leaning it, this bike loves to lean. It loves to lean, and it'll hold you through the lean as long as you have your body positioning right. You know, that for someone that's still, you know, within their first year of riding, I'm very confident leaning in this thing. This bike just, it provides you with so much confidence that if you lean it, it's going to hold you. And it's really been helping me on learning good body posture when it comes to more aggressive riding. Now, hopefully this summer my goal is to start doing track days, do a class day first, and then maybe on the rental 400s, and then eventually take this thing onto the track and have a track day with it and really get to learn my bike and what its limits are. But for, you know, your street Rossies out there and all that, I'm not condoning doing it, but I'm not going to tell you not to, because that would be hypocritical. But the bike provides you with confidence. It really does. It's a great handling motorcycle. Which, I mean, is what you would expect from a 600 Super Sport, and it does it just right. The biggest complaint I had about the 636 when I first hopped on it and did my very first ride on it is that the windscreen is a tad bit small. It's nothing to ruin the bike, and it's also nothing that can't easily be fixed, but the windscreen is, it's a little small for the kind of bike it is. But that can easily be fixed by getting, you know, a GP style double bubble, and, you know, you fix that issue right away. Other than that, I mean, like with any sports bike, the stock fender is ginormous and hideous, so that was a bit of a downside for me. But again, nothing really that just breaks this bike. It's a good all-round bike, and it's Kawasaki. Kawasaki makes very robust motorcycles, so reliability, you know, granted I'm only at 1,000 miles, a little 80 miles over 1,000, but I don't think that, as long as you stay with maintenance, I don't think anything bad's gonna happen to this motorcycle. The power band does, like I said, she's got mid power, but she will want to fly when you hit about 11,000 RPMs. 11,000 RPMs is where this bike just really wants to just give it all. So it's got a very good power band for a Super Sport. Now, the type of rider that I would recommend to get this bike, so if you are a beginner rider, like I said, I'm not going to tell you not to start on a 600, because that would be hypocritical of me, since I started street riding on a 750. But it is about knowing your limits and understanding the responsibility that comes with this machine. I don't care what anyone says, a motorcycle can and will kill you if you let it. Now, for those of you that did start on a more beginner bike, so to speak, you know, your R3s, your Ninja 400s, even your MT-03s, FZ07, Gixxer 750. If you started on a naked or on a smaller CC sport bike, it's going to be an easy transition into this. Once you get used to the new body positioning, the handling is, it's just better handling, but in terms of where everything is, it's the same. It's a very easy transition, and I think this is the perfect intermediate bike. I've seen videos where this thing can and will keep up with 750s, Gixxer 750s. So the power is there, you know, and it does get a very good top speed for my speed junkies out there. So I think this is the best intermediate bike, which is what I'll consider it for me. It's my intermediate bike. And honestly, 600s are just such a special class that, do I want a liter bike? Yes. Will I actually get one? I don't really know. 600s just, it's a lot more usable on the street, which is what I mainly ride. But it's just, it's a great intermediate bike. You know, I don't think you'll ever outgrow a 636. And growing into it, yeah, you can do it as long as you're responsible. You can grow into a 636. It's not that hard. So yeah, if you guys, in my opinion now, I have not ridden the R6 nor the CBR 600, but I was very serious about getting a Gixxer 600 until I sat down on this. It wasn't even the aesthetics, it's just when I sat down on it, the bike just felt right. It was comfortable but aggressive, and it fit, everything on this bike just fit my body. So I'd still recommend you know, for an intermediate bike, 600 Japanese Super Sport. Now, which one, it's really going to depend, but I think the best all-rounder is going to be the 636. It's very, very capable on the track from what I've seen, but also very usable on the street. Whereas something like the R6, not only is it more demanding on your body in terms of the posture you gotta sit in, but I mean, it's gutless. Look at the dyno graphs on it. The R6 is gutless until it hits its power band. It's really like a two-stroke motorcycle, dirt bike. Until you hit that power band, it is just gutless. Where the 636, I mean, it has, I'm not gonna say it's, you know, it's not an FZ07 again. It doesn't have that crazy mid-range torque, but it has some punch at 6,000 RPMs. That it'll scoot. So in my opinion, if you are a street rider that wants a super sport and wants to occasionally do a track day or two, or just have fun on the street, the 636 really is the best super sport for you because of just that power band. The power band is very, very, very usable on the street. And you know, like I said, compared to the R6, it's just the R6, in my opinion, is not, I'm not saying it's a bad bike. I love the R6. I would own an R6, but in terms of street riding, I just think the 636 is more usable. And there is your highway pull. This thing just wants to fly. Like, I'm telling you, when that power band kicks in, it kicks in hard. Wow. That feeling never ever gets old. Like, it really never does. It's just, like I said, once you hit that power band, she just wants to fly. And I really love that about the 636. What are you gonna do? Even in fifth gear, you know, oh my god, it really, it'll kick you, and the amount of G forces you feel on it pushing back on you in the seat is absolutely insane. And even highway riding, like I said, the windscreen, if it was a little bigger, would make the head buffeting a little less, but it's not uncomfortable. I'm just sitting here, one hand on the knee, other one just maintenance throttle, and we're just cruising. So again, if you guys are looking for an intermediate bike, or if you are the very brave and responsible beginner starting on a 600 class, the 636 is really a bike you cannot go wrong with. It's got everything a super sport should have. It's just a little more usable on the street because of that extra 36 cc's. It's very, very usable. I haven't found myself in a situation where I wish I had more torque or anything like that. It's a very good street bike. So if you guys are interested in it, any year 636 is going to be an absolute amazing machine. I got the 2022 because it's just the way things lined up. I wasn't really planning on it. I didn't even plan on buying this bike when I bought it. It's just the way things lined up. But with that said, should you buy a 636? If you are looking for a Japanese super sport, absolutely. I think it is the most usable bike. And if you get your chance, if you get the chance to ride one, I would highly recommend just get on it and ride it. And you'll see why I grew to love it so much. I was not a Kawasaki fanboy. I'm honestly a Yamaha and Suzuki fanboy, but the 636 has completely changed my mind on what the best 600cc super sport is, or a 600 class. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys do end up getting a 636, let me know down below. Hit me up on Instagram. You know, I want to see what my boys are riding. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. And remember, live fast, ride faster. Peace out, guys.